What's going on, everyone? This is Jordan with Conquer Trading and Investing. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, traders. Welcome those joining live, those getting ready. What's going on, everyone? This is Jordan with Conquer Trading and Investing. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, traders. Welcome those joining live, those getting ready. What's going on, everyone? This is Jordan with Conquer Trading and Investing. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, traders. Welcome those joining live, those getting ready. What's going on, everyone? This is Jordan with Conquer Trading and Investing. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, traders. Welcome those joining live, those getting ready. What's going on, everyone? This is Jordan with Conquer Trading and Investing. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, traders. Welcome those joining live, those getting ready. What's going on, everyone? This is Jordan with Conquer Trading and Investing. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, traders. Welcome those joining live, those getting ready. What's going on, everyone? This is Jordan with Conquer Trading and Investing. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, traders. Welcome those joining live, those getting ready. What's going on, everyone? This is Jordan with Conquer Trading and Investing. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, traders. Gabe, got that. Thank you for the sound problem. I think we had an echo. I want to make sure that it's off right now. I was giving me a test 1 2, test 1 2. I think this problem is solved. Just let me confirm with you. All right, thanks for catching that, Gabe. So here we go. We had this morning in the new Telegram chat, Blair alerted us to some, the pound was on the rise, and the pound, let's see if it's continued or what's going on. Euro dropping to session lows right here after the US CPI numbers. DXY continues to be on fire. Running into some resistance up there, though. It's been on fire for now quite a while. Let's see what happens there this morning. Pound pairs all look up. Let's see, pound New Zealand dollar. Look at right off the support. Boom. No trade there. This was, let me drop down to a small time frame just so you could see. This move spike was rather sudden. It's going to be all pound pairs. Pound Canadian dollar, pound Australian dollar, pound US dollar. This looks good above these resistances now. This looks really good here, the pound US dollar, and reason being, let's jump back down to the 8-hour. The reason being is because the dollar strength is eventually, I think, got to abate. And when it does, the pound looks like it's already on the attack. All right. So the weakest, I believe, going into the session is the New Zealand dollar, followed by the Australian dollar. Tell you the truth, it doesn't look that bad here, the New Zealand dollar versus the US dollar as well. I think it just continues to be the euro that gets beaten up so bad by the US dollar. But this looks pretty good over here. Looking at the New Zealand dollar, US dollar. And why do I say it looks good? We have this super strong dollar, New Zealand dollar hanging in. This is the central bank over here. Since the central bank price came back down and tested this broken resistance, which is now support. Not only that, the spike we saw on risk last night, I think, is a one-time off event. I think it was China catching up to the numbers now that the WHO is in the country, the World Health Organization. And I don't think tonight's numbers will be as much of a surprise as last night's. So I think this shock of risk off might be it. You could see almost also at the same time, a reverse head and shoulders pattern also possibly printed over here. If we go ahead out and we do finish this right shoulder over here. So something to keep watch off. I'm going to keep watching of it. Um, Steve, everyone, good morning, traders. Ooh, Bitcoin just got really volatile this morning. Let's check out a 15-minute chart. We got a couple hundred spike up and then down. Pretty volatile. A lot of traders on leverage, I'm sure, are getting shaken all around right now on Bitcoin. I was looking and at doing some work last night on Bitcoin for the next bull run, and my chart got refreshed, so all of my notes are gone. But if that's something all of you are interested in me doing with you, please let me know, and I'll be happy to do it. Nice, Sheriff. I got shaken out of both my Australian dollar. I was long against the US dollar, against the Japanese yen, and the Swiss franc. All got stopped out at break even. All were pretty good into profit, and I thought were going to turn out to be really, really good trades that I was going to be able to hold on for more than a few days. And the thing is since I'm stopped out, I'm not chasing it. I'm not re-entering. I'm just gonna try to look with a clear head and find whether other opportunities. And you know, it's the nature of the beast. Sometimes things like that happen. And we got that crazy print last night from the release of the Chinese data, and we saw some big spikes down really quick across the board. Here you can see on the Australian dollar, this is the candle right here, and that's why we have stops in place. And it's too bad. It could have wound up, I think, being quite a few good trades there. Not good, some really good trades. Glad you're still holding. Stops. What are those things? Why would you use those? Yeah, it's a little bit. So the psychological aspect of it, when getting stopped out here and then seeing the trade go back in your favor. Listen, you have to be fine with it. You can't start then being like, oh, I want to be involved in chasing it. Um, you know, maybe in this case it's going to work out. I wish I was still in the trade, but I put my stop loss to protect those trades in for a reason. And just as, and we were talking about in the Telegram last night. Listen, I don't know if this is going to continue to be risk on, or they're just going to fade that move, and it looks like they're fading it. And that's fine. I'll look for other opportunities. That's the thing about the market. Number one, the market's always going to be there, and number two, there's always opportunities. So also, Sharfu, I posted Let me post it right now. Jennifer was asking about the euro. That's a good read from this morning. Listen, if you're not in the Telegram group and you want to get an invite, it's probably one of the last couple of days. Just go ahead and send me an email to get a link to that Telegram group. We posted about this thread here this morning in the Telegram group, and it talks about why there's so much pressure possibly on the euro. It makes sense to me. The euro, let's take a look on the daily, is definitely just, this is unusual to see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This day was a slightly up day. 7, 8, huge, big down days on the euro. Obviously not in the row. You had this one little small reprieve right here. And then the euro, Swiss franc. Also, is the bleeding going to stop, and when is it going to stop? Are we going down to close the gap? What's going on? Who knows? The dollar is, we were looking for a test of 99.50 and we're getting close. If it breaks out over there, it could keep going. But we've come really far, really fast. Are we going to get any type of a bounce anytime soon? I mean, these are questions that everyone's asking. I don't have the answers to. I have no idea. There's a lot of oversold, and oversold can remain oversold, and it could also snap back just as quick. I don't have the answer to that question, unfortunately. Sheriff will send me an email. Send me an email with your username from chat here in YouTube. Let's take a look at silver right now. Silver up beautiful today. Let me drop back down to the daily to get a look at silver. So silver and gold both over the intermediate to long term are super bullish. Definitely think that this bull market is just in the beginning here, and we have a long way to go. As far as how to position into that, that's a little more difficult right now. You want to buy supports, just similar to Bitcoin right now. Bitcoin's also looking to be in a bull market. We're looking to buy off any tests of strong support. I think that all three of these things, Bitcoin, gold, and silver, should not be traded as positioned into. So we're coming off of a successful test again off of this support over here. It's rising. Dollar's been strong. It's tough. I want to check out the weekly here because I know that silver has been down for a couple of weeks, and which is good. And not only why has it been down for a couple of weeks, it's really consolidated and held up really well. I mean, it's only a matter of time before we go on to make some new highs here on gold and silver, both of them. Gold taking out the 1600. When that is and how to position into that, to be honest, I'm not sure right now. Any test of support, you had a test of support here. Any resumption off of support is what you want, where you want to buy. All right, it's gotten away from you already though, so I'm not chasing after anything right now. I'm going to extend this up. I can't give any type of actionable edge for trading and getting into a trade right now here on silver, except for just having that mindset. Anytime you get it, I'm very neutral on it still. Anytime you get an opportunity to buy up support, go ahead and take a look at it. You can see this little bit of a channel, which is quite bullish. Oh, that's happening. Let me just draw another one then. So a break here to the upside outside of this upper resistance on this channel might be an actionable signal that you want to look for to the upside. Aside from that, I think you want to buy off of any test of supports to the downside over here. Definitely interested in doing that. Let's do that right now together. Let's take a look at the weekly on the DXY. To 1987. Let me check out a monthly then. I'll drop down to the weekly. So here in November, we have the low. If we break 99, 99.50, 99.75, are we coming up here to test 104? It's a really good chance of it. When is Trump going to start yelling about the dollar and making some noise? They're not going to do anything until it gets much higher. They're not going to do anything until it gets much higher. But things are never straight up and down. Dollar's been straight up outside of this bull flag, of the breakout of the bull flag, coming into some pretty decent support right around resistance right around 99.50. So you got wrecked. Oanda over the weekend. Oanda used to have trading over the weekend. I don't think they do anymore. You used to actually be able. There was trading over the weekend on Oanda, or at least the data feed was active over the weekend on Oanda, and it's not any longer. Now you have to check. Like I use over the weekend xe.com for quotes, and if there's gaps, usually it shows the price over in there. But you know that's one broker aside. There's the gap there. That gap is also it's there's a gap there on multiple brokers, not on multiple brokers, on almost every broker. Oanda might be the exception, but they've changed their data feed since. All right. I feel like we're off to a little bit of a slow start today. Feels like a Friday over here. Speaking of Friday, tomorrow we have the retail sales out of the US. That seems to be the only other thing on the calendar. Next week is an explosive week on the calendar. Friday is Blockbuster Friday. We have out of the EU, we have services, PMI kicking it off out of France, and then manufacturing and services out of Germany. Then out of the UK, manufacturing services PMIs, Canadian retail sales, and then manufacturing PMI of the US. Every single one of these are huge. Every single one of those are huge. All right. So no one has the interest, by the way, of preparing for the next bull run over here, on Bitcoin and how to approach that. Oh, by the way, so we have about 10 minutes to the market open. I understand Tesla is down pretty big. I don't know how far. Let's see. They're offering more stock. Um, let's see what that looks like when it opens. It looks like the indices are opening down today, pretty big, half point. Makes sense after the news out of China yesterday. And we'll watch how things develop over there. Um, I guess my mindset is after getting stopped out of those trades yesterday, I'm kind of a little cautious going into today. Let's look at gold at the same time after taking a look at silver. Yeah, I think both of them are showing signs of consolidating. This looks like almost a perfect pendant. And then on silver, we have this also bull flag over here. Um, a break to the upside on both of them is something that I think I want to be involved in. Pound US dollar does look like, again, the thing that I like about the pound US dollar here, Blair gave the update of why all of a sudden that pound strength came into the market. Um, but what looks good here is getting back above this important resistance level over here. Is that the dollar, is acting strong. If the dollar pressure comes off a little bit, the pound has a good chance of extending its gains over here. Um, Looks pretty good. If anyone could elaborate on the news of why the pound is strengthening, that would be appreciated. It seems to me that the risk off move last night is being faded. New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen looked like it got hit extra hard, but it was all the way back up. It came off. It came up so hard the day before, appreciating about 1.3%. So that move is not that normal, abnormal. Coming back in and testing this resistance line over here right now. It looks pretty bullish. Taking out that high over here, back above this resistance level over here. Taking another look at that resistance right there might be a good play. I hope he didn't resign ahead of these numbers, knowing that maybe he has some inside information. Thanks, you got wrecked. The U.S. dollar, Canadian dollar. What's oil doing this morning? Oil's coming off a little bit. Let me pull up. There we go. So, well, looks a little complicated to me. So let's just track it and follow it, right? We had price on the dollar boon. This was definitely during the height of the coronavirus scare, where oil got just rocked. Okay, and we had the U.S. dollar, Canadian dollar take out this important resistance, which was strong. come right up into this strong resistance and also take it out. It held the test of resistance as support, came up to the overhead resistance and was rejected. And since it's been rejected, it since took out this, which is now support. So if you're wondering right now, should you sell off of that resistance as we come off? Well, the difficult part is you're coming right into this trend line support over here, which so far is holding. So maybe a break below this little line over here doesn't really need to be there. That's very light support over there. A break below this little trend line support, if you get a continuation down, maybe taking out the lows from overnight during the Asian session, then it would look like there's a solid chance of continuing at least to test into this support. But I personally, if you're taking the trade, the break, you have the break of this support here, held as resistance now, and price resuming down out. I think I would look for below this trend line support here and below, let me zoom in, and below either Asia or New York of yesterday. Start taking out the lows of New York yesterday and probably get some follow through down. That's an interesting look there, Gabe. So here we come now, about 4 minutes to the US equities opening. DXY continues to be putting pressure on the euro. Even here, look at this. You can see this is now support until it gets taken out. And it's been ever since that retest of the breakout over here, just a one-way train up, coming into an area now for sure of resistance up here. And the euro just continues to get smoked. I don't know when it's going to stop. US dollar, Japanese yen, the yen overnight was taking off of this trend line, 5-year trend line, came back into the support and is now coming up. It looks like eventually this trend line is going to break and give way. When that is, obviously, that's the $1 million question. This dollar strength too. I mean, not only does it look like we're going to test eventually 99.50, there's a good chance it gives way. Eventually, of course, the dollar is going to get wrecked. But and when I mean wrecked, I mean wrecked. Right now, we're for the first time in history running $1 trillion deficits. That's why gold and silver and Bitcoin are so attractive right now, and will be attractive. So even with that strong dollar, we're seeing precious metals trading at their highs. That's perfect, Sherifu. I have this. I'm leaving it unread so that I know after the live chat, I know this is from you, that I'll be able to go ahead and give you the Telegram group right there. Australian dollar, Swiss franc. Although I got stopped out of the trade at my break even, it resumed upwards and continues to look good here. It looks to me like the market is fading that risk off last night, that spike as the new cases were released, and that's a pretty strong sign right there. I'm not gonna look to chase it right now back towards these highs over here, but my mind is trying to imprint what is happening, and to me that looks like we're seeing that bit of that risk off move being faded. New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar, you could see the top of this light local resistance that also happened right here. Price is right into that right now. There's a chance the New Zealand dollar resumes off of this. Something that I'm going to keep watch of. You have to stay away from the Euro Swiss franc, right? You can't catch a bottom. You don't know when that's going to be. And even if you just don't pick bottoms. You might get right once, and when you get right, you could get that sharp move up to the upside, but it's a losing man's game. Not something that you want to be doing. US dollar, Swiss franc, let's see, still taking another, this was still taking another look at this resistance over here. This continues to look like, as long as this resistance holds, the possibility of this looking a place to lean into the sell side, although I don't love it. Euro US dollar, just waiting and hoping that one day it gets its day. And right now, I wish I could have some clearer levels. I know that it's in a level right now, in an area where it's a make or break, and it's something you can lean into right now. Let me see if I can find some points. It's ugly. I can't right now. It's ugly. She's definitely ugly, but at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised to see some spring action bouncing off of those oversold levels. Obviously, oversold can remain oversold for a long time. The Euro Australian dollar, this is again the spike last night, and then you see the Australian dollar since coming back, but it's into this strong area, this strong supply area over here, and it looks like it's holding over there. I don't have a read on that pair. Martin, you're with the momentum today, 100%. Blair alerted all of us to that as soon as it was happening. Listen, if you're not in the Telegram group and you want to participate, feel free. The Canadian dollar, Japanese yen, again, risk is being shaken off over here. It looks like this resistance here is going to be not only tested, I think they're going to come take it out. I think that looks like a place to lean in here this morning to get long here, possibly on the Canadian dollar, Japanese yen, but I'm just trying to get a feel for what's going on right now. Much more momentum here with the pound, Japanese yen. Again, right off of our levels are so important. If you're watching them, whenever I look back on the chart, I always see that the levels, support and resistance levels, were in play. Coming up into this resistance, I think again, I see that risk on came last night, spiked, and is since being faded. And that means to me that we're going to break through on all these Japanese yen levels. Here's the Australian dollar, Japanese yen. Doesn't look as much momentum with it today as the Canadian dollar, Japanese yen. Again, I see that the pound is obviously leading. The Canadian dollar, Japanese yen looks all right. This looks like it's lagging a little bit. Euro looks like it's stabilizing a little bit versus multiple pairs this morning. It might be finding a bottom. It's been getting killed versus all pairs, not just the dollar. It looks like it's stabilizing a little bit now versus other pairs. Not much else to say except look at that run into the support, and then out of it, this is a textbook entry for all of us. And I don't know where I was. Australian dollar, Canadian dollar. You got two almost similar pairs still battling out right now. Stay away. Again, this looks good here. This looks good for a buy, the Australian dollar. More so than against the US dollar than the yen over here. And you could see what's happening over here. You could see that spike, price coming back up, trading towards its highs. You're into the resistance. It just has that feeling that it's going to take out that resistance to the upside. Canadian dollar, Gabe point, was it, who was, I'm sorry, was it Gabe or Martine looking at this? I think it was Gabe. Gabe, this looks good exactly as we looked at it. You had this broken resistance, was holding as support. It gave out, tested up as resistance, price coming off. You have this trend line to worry about, but you get below it over here. Again, you see the dollar start coming off. You can easily take a look down here at the support or lower. So that looks like a good trade, like a live trade. New Zealand dollar, everything looks like it's trying to take back some gains this morning versus the yen. Even the euro, again, the euro finally looks to be like it is stalling out versus all pairs right now this morning. Looks like we might be getting a turning point as well in the euro. This also looks solid, just like the Australian dollar versus the US dollar. This is the New Zealand dollar versus the US dollar. You can see this support over here is being held over here. Price now looking to come up and possibly make newer highs. Something to keep watch of. There's a lot of setups in the market today. There is definitely a lot of setups in the market today. Pound's got a lot of momentum with it. I know you're chasing after a big move over here, but it looks like something new is being priced into the market. Yep, Martine, the New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen also looks bullish. Looks like that risk is being faded. Just like the New Zealand dollar, US dollar is holding that support. Again, you'd be looking on the daily here, and on the daily, if you get a close above, this was a false break. The support held over here, so this also looks good. What's going on, Hernero? Good to see you this morning. Got a good bunch in here. You guys are all awesome. Great to see you in here every day. So that's a good look at the markets right now. Again, to me, the story is two things. We have the pound definitely strengthening, and a lot of momentum there. And then also at the same time, it looks like the euro is actually finally against multiple pairs that have all been destroying it. Looks to be like it could be putting in a bottom today, right now. And then I also see that risk on spike last night being faded, which shows some further momentum. That's the risk in the markets that's going to continue with us. What happened last night with that sharp risk on move that could happen at any point with the situation with the coronavirus. For example, if we find out that all of a sudden there's 10 new cases in the United States, right away you would see a similar move to risk off, or there could be any type of event similar to that, which could just cause that risk off event pretty quickly. Forward looking into the next week, though, next week is Blockbuster Friday. This is a heavy data on the US dollar, Canadian dollar, British pound, and euro across the board. It's a huge day. Bill Boy, not as I know of institutional, and I just don't know of it. Definitely do some Googling and try to see that. I know of hey, this tool actually that Rustin shared with us. Let me pull it up, and then I'll share it in the chat. You could, so let's pull up the euro US dollar. This is pulling up through all the trades on MyFX Book, Forex Factory, FX Blue, Oanda, and all these different. This is all retail traders, but it gives you a nice look as far as who's long and who's short. If you're looking for order levels, Oanda, hold on, order book. All right, so you're in demo mode while you're not signed in. So that you need to sign in. I assume it's a free account here. Okay. So what this does is this is for retail, but it's giving you a look here at the different orders that are placed at the market. And I'm not sure if this is just pulling Oanda data or not. I have a feeling it's just pulling Oanda data. So you could go to Oanda Labs and just look at this same thing here. And this shows the orders, the buy and the sells in the markets waiting. You could Google Oanda Labs order book. That's just retail though. You're not looking at much data as opposed to if you were looking at institutional. I don't think institutions would be giving up that data. And while we're here, definitely, again, I just, I definitely say thank you. Listen, hitting the thumbs up, it does help. It helps the channel, and it helps me know that you all appreciate this. Just a gentle reminder, only do it if you want to do it. That's for sure. The euro does look like it's firming up, not just versus the dollar, but all different pairs. Definitely, I feel like I got the beat on the market this morning, but it's only 15 minutes into the US equity opening. Things could be reversed, but looks like we're seeing Japanese yen being faded. We're seeing the Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar coming back in. Pound strength. I want to see Tesla's print. Tesla's not really down on that news of that offering. It gapped down, but it looks to be closing the gap. Bitcoin again playing with both the long and the shorts that are highly leveraged. I mean, yeah, of course. I mean, Billboard, the difficult thing about that is that institutions are, trading against each other and trading against each other from within the institution as well. So if you could find, definitely markets are driven by liquidity. And if you could find an area in the market where there's a bunch of liquidity, where there's a bunch of supply, of course, that is helpful. Just by looking at support and resistances levels, though, you could do the same exact thing. That's exactly what institutions are looking at. Rust in what? All right, let's do another dance around. DXY still holding this last burst above resistance, holding at a support so far today. Australian dollar, Swiss franc, again, breakout of neckline, came in all the way and tested the neckline, and now is up trading, looking at the highs of this whole area right now. That looks solid. New Zealand dollar, I think it's got the bid into it. That looks good, but this doesn't look like where the opportunity is versus the Canadian dollar. Could be. I would be long there. Don't try to pick bottoms, but the euro looks like it's trying to stabilize versus multiple pairs. US dollar, Swiss franc, it looks like this resistance tested again. Looks like to be coming off. Anyone still holding that short, you still look like you're in good shape. Another lower low will provide another entry, but I don't like the swap against it going short, to be honest. Euro, smashed, smashed, smashed. US dollar, look at this. This is a little bit interesting. Yeah, got that weak yen I'm talking about here. Although the dollar looks to be coming off a tad, it's even on the day. We're holding this support over here, right? Where we are seeing in the market that risk on being faded today on the Japanese yen, making a higher high here might give a nice entry off this support. I'm super interested if we break above that trend line here. There'll be a lot of money, speaking of institutions, getting on that side of the trade. That's interesting. Euro, Australian dollar. Definitely the Australian dollar has got that momentum. Here's that risk off last night and then being faded, coming back down, making new lows. Euro looked like it was stabilizing there right now against the Australian dollar, but that one is not clear at all. Canadian dollar definitely looks like it's bid here versus the Japanese yen, coming into this resistance over here. You guys always see me looking to lean against resistance. I'm looking for this one to break to the upside. Definitely look at this. The pound has that momentum leading versus the weakness here, the Japanese yen. It looks like it's ready to take out this resistance level here too. It looks like there's a lot of strength behind there. Australian dollar too. Again, it looks like all of that risk off is being faded strongly. It looks like we're taking another run up at this strong resistance over here. It's strong resistance. I normally lean into it. I don't think it's going to happen. This is a big tell here that you had. It's a big news event, right? The cases jumped, the deaths jumped. Things are much worse, but the market is fading it. All right, let's watch what happens here. This could be a big break if it breaks. Your New Zealand dollar and Australian dollar are strong since New York is open this morning, and they are, although it looked like the euro is finally looking to take a little bit of a bounce, they're still having their way. This doesn't look clean. It looks clean against the against the yen, but not so much. You know, these two are fighting it out. Both are strong this morning. The Australian dollar, US dollar also looks very strong. Coming up here now again, it looks like it's getting ready to break out to the upside. Oanda does. They used to charge like $800 a month for it. It's now free. You can just Google Oanda API to connect to it. I'm not sure as far as with the MetaTrader 4, but just Google Oanda API, and then the page has all the information on it. Gold retracing. Let's take a look. It doesn't seem to have much momentum. It looks to me, first of all, we're neutral on gold. That was our last update that we looked at gold. We're currently neutral with obviously a bullish bias, but I'm watching this pattern now, right? I'm watching the breakout over here, which I think will be to the upside, but I'm watching it. And then on silver also, let me make this channel yellow. This looks like a bull flag. The next, I would like to be involved the next leg up, a break of this trend line over here to the upside on silver, and a breakout over here to the upside might provide the entry for me. Look at that. Euro's wrecked versus everything. Obviously, the Canadian dollar has got the momentum here to the downside, breaking down past that last area of support. Let me make sure I have a line in there. Canadian dollar, Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, they got a little boost. Let me zoom out here to the weekly chart just so I could get a little bit of a bearing of what's happening here, what's going on. It looks to me that's an important line. Below it here, it looks like she's breaking down and probably has further to go. That bounce in the euro might never come, but if it does and you cross back above that line right there, that resistance, that broken support, then at that point you have to flip bullish. below it right now, though. Definitely leaning bearish here. There is MHB. I mean, the euro is oversold right now. And as we all know, oversold can remain oversold for quite a while. If you scroll up into the chat over here, I put a link right over here. So this is an interesting thread regarding China and the coronavirus's effect with this post at the heart of the matter. Let me go ahead and share with you really quick. So just the thread is right here. It's posted in the chat. Check out the thread just really quick. What it's talking about, there are some misconceptions about the ability of China to recover from the economic fallout of the coronavirus. And then if you follow the thread and come down to here, the heart of the thread is this, where it says, then we get to the real issue. The Eurozone has been flirting with recession since November. December institutional production figures were just horrible. A massive fall in Chinese demand in January, February, and likely in March will push the Eurozone into recession. So there's the strong possibility that what is actually contributing to the fall here in the euro is the lack of Chinese demand being priced in. So I mean, I found it interesting. I recommend the thread just to give it a read and take from it what you can and will. Let's take a look at gold on the 4-hour. Hanero, what do you mean by that? What do you see on the 4-hour? Actually, if you go ahead and you're able to go ahead and just hit this camera button on your trading view, it'll take a snapshot of what you're looking at on the 4-hour, and then you could go ahead and what everyone does is you copy the link, and then you just post this part in chat, the part from the X afterwards. Hanero, what do you mean by that? And now yen strength is kicking in a half-hour into the US equities open. Markets are pretty stable, up a little bit from where the US equities opened. It's hard to say. I mean, it definitely looked like that risk was being freighted, but over the last 10 minutes, we saw the Japanese yen definitely rejecting these areas. It's just one look. So I have to say it's quite mixed. I don't see a clear direction yet right now. Yeah, FX Choice accepts US residents. Raphael, I don't know. I think maybe doing some Googling for what exactly what you're looking for will pull up what you need then. I don't use any management software that I could recommend. Japanese yen over the last 30 minutes, a sharp reversal, it looks like. Don't get whipsawed around. Okay, this is, by the way, just so everyone is, this little area over here, right? That's resistance, but it's light resistance. This is not a strong resistance area, but it is slight local resistance. If you're day trading, this is an area that you're focused in on. For swing trading, it's not something that you pay attention to. I don't have one to recommend either. A Forex simulator. When I started trading, there wasn't even Forex simulators. You could, again, if someone here has anything that they're aware of that they could recommend, of course, please do. Otherwise, go with Google. Yeah, I mean, it looked like that's changed. It looked like it was being faded to me. And then let's see, let's look over the past 8 hours on the 8-hour time frame. It looked like the risk was being faded, and right now, this was the big spike down on the Bloomberg notification about the increase in cases, and then you saw price trade up during London, and then was trading all the way up here during New York. So it looked to me like the move was being faded, and then over the last 30 minutes to 1 hour, we saw a sharp spike down. So they're whipping it around. I don't know what's next. Yep, exactly. Google is your friend. I just want to affirm that, DJ, because I mean, man, how many times have you Googled, right? That's how you learn, right? By learning, searching, reading. You're here to learn too, of course. And if anyone here has any, ask a question. If we just don't have the answer, then use Google, of course. But yeah, I don't trade off harmonic patterns. Trading is extraordinarily complicated. There's a million different variables and things you could use. Keep it as simple as possible. Do not use different time frames to conflict with each other. Whatever time frame you are trading on, that's where you take signals off of. Do not use too many indicators. And I use mainly trading off of support and resistance, as well as trend lines and some chart patterns. What is that? Forex tester? You got wrecked? Thank you. Looks a little whippy today. Looks a little whippy out there. Euro being pushed back down to the lows of the day. Well, that's interesting. I have to Google that myself to check out where the replay button is, but I will do that. Bar replay right here. Oh. I don't know how to activate it. I'll have to look into it. I'll have to Google. Nice share on back testing and the bar replay and trading view. Thanks for sending that over. Appreciate it. You got wrecked. Thank you. All right. Definitely a lot of whipsaw over the past hour. Tough day for day trading. Acknowledge what's going on around you. Lots of opportunity pre-New York, and then New York has been whippy. Oh, let's look at that. Here we're on the Australian dollar US dollar. It is holding, by the way, so far this trend line over here and coming back up. looks pretty good over there. Let's take a look at the 4-hour and then the 1-hour here on the Australian dollar, Japanese yen. All right, so I think, please, Sherifu, correct me if I'm wrong. Are you looking at left shoulder, right shoulder, and then possible right shoulder? And if so, which could be, here's our neckline. All right. So when would that, obviously that would trigger on a breakdown of the neckline. You have this support right there into it. That's fine. The right shoulder and the head are pretty close to each other though. So also just, oh, I didn't mean to do that. Just also be aware of, you get, this could be a triangle forming also. Right. So that could break up, or you could have the head and shoulders here, and then you're looking for a break of the neckline over here to trigger it. So great position to be in, because there's a lot happening then. Let's look at that on the 1-hour. Definitely whippy right now. Let's check on the US dollar, Canadian dollar. Still holding that little bit of trendline support over there. If that does give away, look out. The dollar is just, it won't stop. It won't stop. Euro can't find its footing. Yeah, the euro, although it looked earlier like it was trying to find its footing against all pairs, it's still back on its back foot right now. Euro, Japanese yen is very bearish, even with a little bit of a possible. Let me draw in this resistance line. We haven't looked at this pair in a while. It's got so much to work through. I mean, so we've looked at a couple of reasons today of why the euro is possibly so bearish. But at the same time, it's so oversold. And yes, oversold can remain oversold for a long time, but often then there's sharp bounces from oversold, right? So at this point down here, obviously it's not something that you want to continue chasing down after, but looking at it, it's a mess. It's terribly bearish. This we had over here, and just going back and looking at this trend line over here, this channel that we were watching, we had the first false breakout, we came back in, the second breakout over here, since then, it's been pretty, this goes back down here. Looking at this support, this resistance, and that touch of resistance. Very whippy this session, very whippy. Let's take a look at the Australian dollar over the past 15 minutes. And here you could see up into that little bit of local resistance, spike down as a move of a good 40 pips, no, 30 pips. And then again now towards the middle of that area. You can see also that whipsaw right over there as well. Pound taking another run up here, breaking out to new highs right now above that resistance. We're trying to get above that resistance. If it makes it above, it's got about another 100 pips to the upside over there. Great comments, everyone. I like it, Hanero. I like it a lot. Sheriff, I definitely will after we get off the live stream. And then jump in and I'll look at this. Euro getting smacked here. Versus the Canadian dollar. Versus the Australian dollar. DXY is at 99.09. Versus the US dollar. Coming down now into this right over here. No, still got a ways to go. Where does that come in? About the whole number. No, I would be extraordinarily surprised. Where is the gap, by the way? Are we, I can't believe we're even close to it that we could even be talking about it. There it is. And we are getting pretty close to it. 0.0776. Wow. I didn't see this happening until there was some type of turmoil as far as politically in the EU. I didn't see it coming. No, the market doesn't seem to be focused in on those right now, though, on the CPI. I think I'm pretty sure that when we talk about things being broken, that it's the DXY must be affected by what's going on in the repo markets. Yeah, let's look at the Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar right now. We haven't looked at this today. I'm interested to see what's going on. Looks like overnight on this was the New Zealand dollar central bank, this big candle over here. This is after they met, and then price came down into this area, which is support, right? And so far bouncing off support, and I believe that's going to continue. This looks like a bottom to me. It looks like a bottom is developing, and over here, before the central bank met, it looked like we were breaking out above the high top of this blue box over here. This is like consolidation area. And it looked like we were breaking out. And then the central bank of New Zealand met. They said they're not going to be cutting rates. Boom, price fell, held the support, and is now coming back up. I'm on the sidelines. If we get another breakout of this resistance here to the upside, I think at that point it looks like a long-term bottom has been put in on the Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, and that might be interesting. So the Australian central bank is under the impression that the coronavirus is going to cause additional stimulus out of China, which is going to benefit their economy. We had a nice group in here today. If you're just joining us, glad you're here. Don't be shy. And also, please go ahead and take a moment and do subscribe to the channel. It looks like it. I mean, we're not too far off now. We are very, very, very oversold. There's a lot of momentum here. DXY is finally running into a little bit overhead resistance. Oversold could just remain oversold is the whole thing. This is the gap right here, this big support line we got down over there. Coming in at 0.0776. What's the high? 6026. I'm sorry. It's at 0.107775. We're pretty close. Is it going to close today? I have no idea. I mean, when I say today, I meant in the near term future. I have no idea. The euro could bounce hard off of these oversold conditions. You get a lot of traders on the wrong side of the market really quick as well. I have no idea. Watching this resistance up here on the pound, probably get a better look at it on the 4-hour time frame. Pound is definitely continues to be strong today. Very big level. And that's why if it does break out above it and hold the breakout, it's got a good chance of trading much higher. Ziggy, I don't know. Let's take a look at it. Let's see what's going on here on the Australian dollar, US dollar. Let's start here on just the 8-hour. Let's start on the daily. And then we'll break it down. So you can see this resistance over here is a pretty big deal. Price currently trading above it, below it, excuse me, right? So what has happened? Price came in here. You can see all of it here. These were the yearly lows down over here. Price held it first and then came back down and took out those lows, triggered all these stops, but reversed sharply off of it. You can see that happening over here. And then so far has come back in, and it looked like yesterday it was going to take out this important resistance level. And then China reported overnight that they had a huge jump in cases, and price came all the way down, took out yesterday's low, and is since retracing back up towards the top. That to me appears to be bullish price action. It looks like it's trying to make a break above there. And if it does, I think we could see some forward momentum to the upside. Are you're leaning in right now to a heavy resistance? Do you want to sell it? I mean, because that's normally the game plan, but this price action of, first of all, taking out, again, I showed you that this was yearly lows over here, which held, and then as they took out the stops, buyers came in, took us into the resistance here. We had this surprise news release, China cases, risk off really quick, and then now we're back up, knocking on the door again. So it looks like it's going to break up to me. The dollar is also very, very, very overbought. So if the dollar does come off a little bit, the Australian dollar could pop here. So my bias is towards the upside here. Let's break it down even further. Look what's happening. This is the 4 hour. It's been a little, this session during New York has been very jumpy, very whiplashy. So not much of a read there. Same thing. I think you got to get below this area over here. Let me just draw this in. You got to get below here to there to be more pressure. As long as we're above here, I think the pressure is on to the upside. You got to get below this level over here. You could see it. This is local support over here. You could see here it broke. The resistance came in. They took it above, and it's held since. So as long as that area holds, this is the area from the overnight risk off. As long as that holds, you got a bullish bias over here. You get below there, and then the selling will resume. Yeah, Heath, good analysis there. And it's not only the euro. The Japanese yen is way stronger than the dollar today. Definitely the pound. Then it goes euro, yen, pound as far as weight. And then what's going on with the Australian dollar is mixed. US Canadian dollar. Where are you? Is dollars outperforming a tiny bit. So definitely it's coming from the euro, and actually the dollar is outperforming the New Zealand dollar also. But the pound and also the yen are having their way with the dollar today. And here comes the pound a little bit. Pound trying to make that break. I'm going to start again on the daily time frame. So we were looking at, picture these green trend lines were red as price was trading down below it. And then also here, I could do this. All right. Here's where we were. We were trading down here heavily, right? A lot of pressure here on the Canadian dollar. Central bank came in and they said that they're not looking to actually, I'm sorry, the central bank came in and they said that they were worried about the consumer and they would be watching the consumer going forward, which is why next Friday is so important when you have the retail sales out of Canada. All right. So off of there, the Canadian dollar, the US dollar took out this strong resistance and this trend line resistance, took it out, traded up into the next huge level over here. You have this big resistance, trend line resistance. And when I say big, I mean big going back a year, and also took out that horizontal resistance. All right. Now, it was trading above that broken resistance. It was holding as support. It came into this resistance up here, and then it's trading down, taking out that support. And so far, right now, this trend line is holding. You get below that trend line, and I think that you're going to come down and test this support for sure. All right. What I would be doing, because you took out this support, and because so far it's holding as resistance, this broken support from right here. When this support broke, it's held as resistance during London, and we're trading down here now, but we're getting caught up into this trend line support. If we break below New York's low down here at 0.132, at that point, I think then there's a good chance we come down either into this support or this trend line support. But I think you have to wait for that confirmation to get short on that trade. And that's where you're looking at over on the US dollar, Canadian dollar. Let's track it. Let's follow it. Vicky, wow. Wow. You just read my mind. Great comment. Again, you guys lit up the likes today. Appreciate it. I want to thank you all for that. That really helps the channel. It helps the algorithm know that people are enjoying this content, help share it with others. Some of you who are joining us for the first time, that's how you found out about us. Please do go ahead, and if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, we live stream every day, Monday through Friday, 9 o'clock a.m. Eastern time for the New York session. Curious how the equities are doing. Nah, they're kind of stalled out also. They opened up lower. They haven't really moved since. I'm also not only watching here the pound Japanese yen looks like it's looking to break important resistance, but also the Australian dollar, US dollar is also looking to me like it's looking to do the same. We just gave a pretty good look at that altogether. Wow. Tesla, I think, was down in the pre-market, now coming back up with the Dow market. Wow. I've seen a lot more press about the solar panels. That's something that I'm really into. That's just amazing. Uh, I hope that it's a good product, and I hope it's long lasting. You know, like if you guys remember the iPhone 4, that's not really the version you want to buy. You know, it was more like, you know, iPhone 7 and 8, Tesla panels, you know, first launch. I don't know, but the ability to go off grid, to be able to, you know, get that renewable energy, store it in your garage in the battery pack. That's pretty cool stuff. Then there's always the Cybertruck. She's come up so far, so quick over the last 4 hours. It was actually Blair talked about this in the Telegram group. As soon as it was happening, it was the opportunity. I really enjoyed that heads up. I didn't trade on it, but to know what's going on is so important. There she goes. She's trying to make a run right now. Brutal. Pop. used to call it back in the day, trading the pound Japanese yen, riding the dragon, because she's a difficult pair to stay on. I'm here with you all. I'm just a little quiet right now. That's all. Beast, 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 beast. That's a really interesting question, Vicky. So let's talk about that. That's not just so easy in black and white to answer as far as what's going to happen once they find a cure. So let's talk about that. So from my understanding, I think the amount of time until there is a vaccine could be somewhere between 12 and 18 months away. And I'm not sure if that's under like the best case scenario or not. But I do not think it would be anytime soon. I think that I remember reading that the World Health Organization said it would be 18 months. And I also heard 1 year. So it's not going to be a while before they find something. So what we have to what we have to watch out for is whether or not there are just so many unknown cases that are spreading it right now, and then it spreads to the big cities across the world. If that were to happen, then we have a black swan event upon us, and things will be very bad. If things which are very bad now inside China, if this is the worst of it, and if we see the peak of this virus by April, and at that point, I think it'll be very growth positive. There'll be a lot of stimulus, put in by the central banks of China, and I think at that point, that's just going to help continue this whole facade we have going on, and only make it end badly in the future. But we have the presidential election in the US, and unless as we get closer to the election, they somehow try to pull the markets out from underneath. Because since the day Trump was elected, I was always under the impression they were going to crash the markets right before the election. And with the markets trading at all-time highs as they are right now, there's the possibility that happens. It looks to me, Viggy, that we are seeing the possibility of a breakout. If we get a breakout, how about this? If we get a breakout above this resistance here in the Australian dollar, Japanese yen, then we might have seen the bottom of the risk. If Australian dollar, US dollar is able to has a long way to go to get healthy again, but it's unknown. It's just so complicated. I don't think it's going to be a long time before they find the cure. I think it's a question of how much damage is done in the meantime. Obviously, we're not being told what's really happening, and we don't know what's going to happen once the warmer weather starts. With SARS, the warmer weather killed it, and but we don't know how coronavirus is going to react to that, or if that means then it's going to start spreading in the southern hemisphere. So there's just too many unknown questions and too far in the future. I thought I was going to have a clear answer, but it's a very unknown. That's tough also because they're being propped up by all this liquidity. they're really being propped up by. Think about how much bad news they've digested. Over this was the worst of the bad news, and how far did they come down? What, 3% or something? They're trading at new all-time highs, and this is just trading off of central bank liquidity. Until the central banks start pulling liquidity, I don't think that's going to change. So if you are someone who wants to, who believes this is completely irrational and wants to take a look at shorting it, you have to be focused and find out when the Fed is injecting money and when they're pulling it. And the only time that they're going to come down is when they start pulling money. Let's take a look over here at a higher time frame to get a good idea of where the next local support is. Let's keep this line in here. So as long as we're above, as long as we're above this line over here, she's really healthy. Accent that, boom. Kind of looks to me that as the euro, after just getting demolished, just kind of, it was traded up about 15 pips, which is a lot for the euro these days. The DXY didn't really come off. It looks like the DXY was gaining on the other. It looks like the US dollar was gaining on other currencies during that time. It's really bizarre. So I don't have a good handle on that. Let's try this. Yeah, this account. I'm not sure exactly where right now. I'm going to send a link to this account though. And to be honest, Martine, it's a little technical for me, but because she doesn't come right in and explain it well. Like for example, what's more important to risk assets overnight, the DXY money not going to the 10% globally, or supposedly QE keeping the 10-year at 2 versus 3%. Spoiler alert, overnight money is a bigger driver. She's I say she, normally is the profile is a picture of a girl. I don't know if it's a guy or a girl. They are alluding to what is the cause of the DXY strength, and I'm not able to understand it fully myself. But I know that they have a good grasp on it. Follow this account, take a look at some of these posts. Basically, what I say basically, I'm not sure. It seems like the repo rate is being used. The repo is being used to keep down the 10-year yields. And by doing that, it's causing money that should be going elsewhere to be going towards the DXY. Again, I don't have a clear or good grasp on it, so I'm not able to open it up for you. But this is the area where you want to be searching. So I'll include that account for you. I got it already. All right, everyone. I think this is a good place to end it for today. Seems like the trading volatility is there. This was a tricky session for sure. I like the market though over these past ever since the new year, and it looks like that is going to continue for us. But that's it for today. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you tomorrow.